live. Now it's
We're all
working.
alive.
Sandy's figuring out technology. Welcome, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Super excited to be here with my amazing sister, Dr. Stacey Herrera. And we're going to be talking about humanizing education and really bringing the human back to the center through the evolution of consciousness. And so this work that we're going to share today has been developed over several, probably thousands of years. All the thought leaders that I've been mentored by and have learned from over the years, and compiling it all together. And Stacey and I have really put it into this format that really helps us create psychologically safe working and learning environments in our schools. And so wanted to take this hour with y'all, and y'all, as if I'm from Texas. I am not. Stacey was from Canada earlier. It's fine.
Mhm.
We're choosing where we're from today. But excited to be with you all today and just have a conversation. So those of you that are joining via Facebook Live, feel free to drop questions and comments in the chat. Those of you that are here with us on the webinar, feel free to drop information in the chat directly. The team will be monitoring both, and so excited to have you along for this journey. So let's kick it off with a little bit about who we are. We are sisters, so there's that fun fact. And those that know us well say that we haven't changed a bit from way back when we were wearing fabulous 70s attire.
The fashion is definitely key.
Yeah. So, Stacey, you want to share a little bit about our journey to get to where we are and launching Humanize EDU into the world?
It's been such an interesting culmination of both of our journeys that was kind of parallel, really. I have always loved working with children, wanted to be an educator, ended up pursuing my degree in school psychology to be able to better infuse kids with a love of learning and understanding of themselves and how they learn, and really give them tools to regulate their emotions. And then Sandy's journey really in working with businesses and with the culture within businesses, and finding that through her own journey, like the culture within schools really needed to be addressed. So it's really lovely to see her working with the adults in the building, and I work with the adults in the building to support the children in the building. And so creating this holistic view of how we can create psychologically safe learning and working environments. And it's just so much fun to be playing in the sandbox, as Sandy says, together as we work.
I love it. Love it. Love it. I hit the sister lottery in this life, the sibling lottery. Stephanie and Ryan, I love you all dearly. Can't leave out all the siblings. But yeah, as Stacey said, like our career paths really have merged over the last 7 years, and to this place now where it's like this is a movement, and it is truly about creating this momentum in a way where we can continue to thrive. And so, our intention for this webinar and this hour that we're going to spend together is really for you to take what works, leave what doesn't, and to really decide how you want to play with us and how you want to join in this movement of creating psychologically safe working and learning environments all across the world. And so, if you could type in the chat, we start everything with gratitude. What are you grateful for from today? So, Stace, while they're doing that, if you want to share, what are you grateful for from today?
I'm grateful that we connected with over 600 educators last
Oh
night.
my God. It was almost 700. I think
And
it was
to
90.
watch their live feed, it was definitely a thrill,
Yeah.
to be with educators and reminding them that they matter, that they're important, that they are key stakeholders in our children's success, and just to be surrounded in that, just and connecting with them. It's super grateful for that.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. And I'm just so grateful for this team, and also for my family. Like our family has grown and evolved. Our parents and our siblings and our kids, and just how we all are navigating this life. And we don't all live in the same place. Those of you that can relate, when you aren't living where your family is. A little over a year ago, I moved to New England, and none of my family is here, and so it was a little bit challenging, and yet I feel so connected, and I'm so grateful for the technology that can bring us together, and really, I almost feel like we're closer than ever, and we do make time to travel and be together in person as well. Alexis, family and working from home, yes, absolutely, just a beautiful gift to have that freedom and flexibility, and really to be connected with family. Megan, absolutely, and working towards our goals together and as a team is absolutely just one of the best things, is to be surrounded and supported by incredible purpose driven humans. Thank you for that, Raina. So the main reason that we named the company Humanize EDU is because it's truly about human connection. At the end of the day, no matter what is happening in life, when we slow our nervous system down, what we really crave is a sense of belonging. We really crave that human connection. It's one of our core needs. And it's the energy that exists when we truly feel seen, heard, and valued for the unique, amazing humans that we are. And it's the foundation of everything that this movement is based on and the work that we're doing. Stacey, what would you add to that?
Just knowing that we are hardwired to have some semblance of community or a tribe in order for survival, right? And so a lot of our wounds at times can come from this lack of belonging or lack of connection. And so it really is so valuable for everyone's mental well-being to feel seen, heard, and valued and be connected to the humans that they're seeing on a daily basis. And for our kids, that's school. Like they spend a majority of their time there during the school year. And for them to walk in and just, have the custodian know their name and have, the SRO give a high five or help tie shoes, or just have the teacher say, I know that was hard for you. I'm so proud that you made it through even that really challenging presentation. Like it makes such a difference.
We know that in the current reality, not only is AI on a steep trajectory of really being ingrained in everything we do, it has been for a really long time, but the acceleration in which we as humans need to be learning how to be pilots, drivers, astronauts, whatever metaphor we want to go with, of AI is creeping into the world of education at lightning speed. And it's really furthering the conversation of who are we as educators in this learning journey. And in my opinion, we can talk about this in the chat. I would love your opinions. What is the role of an educator in the future of education? And for me, it is really about that facilitator of lifelong learning, that spark of igniting the inner genius and fostering the inner genius in every individual you come into contact with. And we know, and we can talk about it, and Stacey's going to share some stats with you about the burnout and what it's like in our schools today. And yet, where we want to equip you to grow with us is to build the resilience and be empowered to be a part of the future of education, not only for your own personal well-being, but for your career path as well. And how we can inspire and influence children for generations from this position of strength. Stacey, you want to talk about these stats? And again, they're from January 22, but they're not. If I think they might be worse now.
I know that it feels like a long time. It does take time to do surveys and to cull the data. But this is so visibly striking, right? To recognize that teachers are in blue, principals are in green, and just working adults in general are in gray. And to see the frequent job related stress exceed 80% for principals. These are our school leaders. Megan on our team had done her dissertation on the emotional intelligence of principals and recognizing that the higher emotional intelligence really benefited their staff and their teachers. And if a principal is experiencing frequent job related stress, it's going to be challenging to be present for their community, for their staff. And we really do have some ways to kind of shift that and turn that around and make it a whole community effort where it's less reliant on the principal to do all of the things. Um, we look at, did you want to go to the next slide? Okay. Just the burnout in general, and then the symptoms of depression are just quite striking. And then the resilience is, we're looking for a higher rate of resilience. Um, and within education, we're simply not seeing it. So in order to foster that, we know that we need to circle around each other. This is a bigger problem than for just one person. It's going to require a community of people. And so this was a very interesting US Surgeon General share about the factors that impact mental health of young people. And you can see here that the relationships with peers, teachers, and mentors, right, and the school climate are really important in fostering youth mental health. And this is my own quote. Because what I see is when students fail to get what they need from their families, from schools, from society as a whole, often teachers are expected to pick up the slack and to figure it out. And what we're proposing is not a new program, but just centering in our humanness and centering in that connection so that we can all rally around these unmet needs, or at least connect with other organizations who are meeting those needs, because it does take a village.
So with the bringing the human back to the center of education, like this, we see data all over the place, right? Where it is the the social connection is lacking, right? The epidemic of loneliness, not only for our students, which this talks about, but also for us as adults. And how are we navigating through this in a way where we come out the other side having learned from it? Stace, what did you want to add to this?
A lot of these stats are about social engagement, so time spent with friends. And the most striking right now, and I know in the headlines everyone's hearing about Generation Z and just their mental well-being is depressed overall. And there has been such a steep decline in time spent with peers, right? We're the most digitally connected, but the least like in person connected um, time of our lives. And for this Generation Z, it's definitely negatively impacting them.
We know that the culture in our schools is the collective capacity of who we all show up as. There's no culture in an empty building. And so it's really important that we think about, how do we show up on purpose? How do we create our cultures by design, not by default? How do we lead from our position of strength, owning who we show up as, even on the icky days, right? Even on the days when we don't feel like our best selves. And yet when you work in a trusted environment, you can show up and own it and go, "Hey guys, today's rough." Even if you don't want to share the details. And then have your team rally around you and go, "You know what? I got you today. Because tomorrow I might need you to have my back." And really ensuring that we can show up collectively as the adults in the buildings of our schools from an empowered place, from a place of ownership, not fake positivity, not just shiny, happy self care. Not, I'm sure that, every educator on the planet is like, if I hear just have self care one more time, I'm, going to lose my marbles. Like, it truly is about owning who you show up as. That's it. Right. And building those trusting relationships, creating that culture of well being. And in order to do this, we have a couple of assessments. There's an individual culture assessment that we've developed that you can find on our humanizedu.com website, but also this team culture assessment. And this is what we're going to go through today. And so if you want to go ahead and click this QR code, it will give you the opportunity. And if you, for some reason, you technology wise, you can't click the QR code, just go to humanizedu.com and just scroll down. It's about halfway down the page. You can click on the link to this team culture assessment. And it will walk you through a series of questions for you to really take an honest look at where your team is currently. And it's just a marker of where you are today so that you can kind of follow along and take away some nuggets from what we're going to share next.
This was
So
such
this
a
ever
valuable tool
sorry,
that
go
we
ahead.
used in a workshop recently. And the team really was able to see that they were on the same page as to where they are with regards to their team culture. And for them, it was reassuring and an aha and provoked a lot of great questions. So, really, assessment tools are so valuable in taking a snapshot of this is where I am. The assessment can either say, oh, yeah, that resonates with me. I recognize that. And for some, it might be like, oh, that is my reality. Like, wow. And so Sandy's going to talk more about the culture ladder
Tree.
tree.
Tree? It's a tree. It's a tree. It looks like a tree. It's all about growth and evolution, and it's not static. We don't end up, at any certain level and stay there even throughout some days. Like I tell this story often, but it's so fitting. If anyone's ever been driving down the highway, maybe going 80 miles an hour or not, and and there happens to be a pothole in the middle of the freeway. There's not supposed to be potholes in the freeway. Yet it happened driving down the freeway. So I'm with my girlfriend. We're on our way for a girls trip weekend, and I'm feeling I'm at the blue level, right? Between blue and indigo. I'm feeling freedom, I'm feeling connection, just feeling like this is great. I'm in values alignment. We're in community and feeling joy and trust, and I'm in a great energetic space. But all of a sudden, driving 80 miles an hour down the freeway, I hit a pothole. It's like, damn it. Then then I had another one. And there was a series of them, so I wasn't the only one that hit these potholes, but immediately threw me into a fear-based state, into a reactionary survival crisis management mode where immediately my nervous system was flooded and was then quickly in blame based and blaming the pothole. What? Who would have put a pothole in the freeway? Like how did that happen? Like just blaming, like judgment. I'm defensive. I'm trying to command and control the situation. And then quickly from there ended up in, okay, how do I take my power back? How do I get to the side of the road? How do I get my confidence about me that I can, steer the car, get safely to the side of the road? Okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to handle this? Taking my power back and growing my confidence to then get to a place where I was ready for the tow truck driver to come and join me in teamwork and be open hearted in the conversation with him versus blaming him for the pothole, right? And taking that my anger and frustration out on him, I was able to actually lead from a place of love and go, hey, this is what's meant to be. We're here. But that wasn't my immediate reaction. My immediate reaction was crisis management, and then trying to have my ego drive the bus and be mad at the pothole, not me driving 80 miles an hour and hitting two of them, right? I just taking ownership for my part was not part of that thought process. And then ultimately, getting back on the road to freedom. But so it can happen in micro moments throughout our day, and it can also happen over time, and we each get to choose. It's not about good, bad, right, wrong, better, worse. It's truly about, where do you desire to be? Again, design your culture, not only your team culture and your school culture, but your internal culture. We all have an internal culture within us, on purpose. So once you define where you want to be, then you get to navigate towards that. And so we're going to talk about the mindsets at each level of consciousness and how you navigate through them. So, Stacey, if you want to kind of take us through, we're going to start with the red level, where what's trying to happen is to feel a sense of safety.
And oftentimes, when we're lacking that feeling of safety, right, we're in a place of fear. And in a place of fear, a lot of anxiety can arise. And we know that gratitude can actually combat anxiety. They can't exist in the same place. So if we are in this fear based reactionary mode, right, if we want to move beyond that, then it really is about how can we center and find something to be grateful for in that moment to move towards, not that moving up is like always what you need to be doing, but in order to thrive, in order to feel comfortable and confident, and in order to learn, we can't learn. And this is really important in education. Children who come in this feeling unsafe are not in a place where their minds are open to learning anything new. And so it'll be important to move from that fear base towards that gratitude. And then moving on to the next one.
So when we establish that sense of safety, it's like, okay, I'm physically safe, I'm feeling psychologically safe. Then our ego can tend to start driving the bus, and we end up in a blame based culture. And in having a conversation with a school this week, actually it was two schools. So similar things are coming up in the level of gossip that's happening on a campus. And the school leaders are trying to manage relationships and ensure that, you know, everyone they're doing their best to ensure that everyone feels heard. But they're managing relationships and managing egos, and everyone's egos driving the bus, and they're wanting to blame who did this or who did that or a symptom that said this, and trying to command and control things. And you'll see a lot of defensiveness really play out when really all it takes is a little bit of courage in order to move from a fixed based mindset into a curiosity based mindset, because curiosity is the antidote to judgment. I'll say that again. Curiosity is the antidote to judgment. And it's really about ensuring that we don't get fixed in our way or being good, bad, right, or wrong, but about leading with curiosity and taking and having the courage to lean into curiosity versus staying in a fear based state where it just becomes about blaming everyone else. And this is where we have an opportunity, and how I was coaching these two schools who had this example this past week, is to re-anchor in conscious conversations through curiosity, is to lead from seeking first to understand, to pull in Stephen Covey's work, right? Is when we do that, it actually is the antidote to judgment and navigating into this level of compliance, right? Of self-reliance. Stace, go ahead.
And what we're seeking here is confidence, right? That feeling like we do have the power, we do have the status, and we do have the bureaucracy to really make this a culture of our own. Sandy gives a unique example about sometimes when cultures are stuck, we do have to move back into the silos of getting really clear on what a smaller group is capable of before we can branch out and work with larger groups. Do you want to speak more to that, Sam?
Yeah, it's really important not to label any of these levels as good, bad, right, or wrong. And sometimes compliance gets a bad rap, right? And yet we do need standards, and we do have expectations. And so in order to draw that line in the sand of this is who we are and this is how we do things here, it creates a level of okay, now I know, now I can actually navigate through environmental mastery, which is connected within one of the pillars of the science of happiness, in order to be able to rely on myself and take my power back. And so sometimes the example Stacey's talking about is I was working with a middle school team, and they had an English department and a reading department, and or reading team and English team. And they weren't communicating. and they weren't collaborating, and they needed to for the sake of the curriculum and what the students needed to learn. And I actually coached the assistant principal who was their supervisor to actually pull back from going to teamwork, which we'll talk about next, and getting them to just own their power so that in their PLC groups, in their professional learning communities, their only job was not to collaborate, was to just share what they were personally doing and what they were proud of about their own lessons. And that was it. I said, have them spend 1 to 4 weeks just in that space where they're celebrating their own brilliance and growing their confidence. And through taking the pressure of teamwork off and allowing them to just settle into their brilliance as the unique, amazing educators that they are, the teamwork will slowly start to happen because then they're going to start to get out of small mindedness and get into a moonshot mindset, which allows them to see through the lens of what others are doing that might be possible for me if I incorporated that a little bit into my own work. And it allows the space to begin to build some trust and to begin to influence each other from a heart-centered place. But it doesn't happen without really anchoring into that compliance place where we own our power, where we feel empowered and confident with who we are.
And when we've seen school cultures come from this heart centered love place, right, where they are innovating, because within education, things are shifting so quickly. And it's important to have that teamwork and that rhythm and that freedom to innovate, knowing that we aren't like making widgets. We are literally working with dynamic humans who all learn in a different way. It requires this level of innovation in order to thrive within the educational realm.
And recognizing that we're in the people business, right? And we're not in the data business, we're in the people business. We're growing, and we're inspiring and influencing young minds and really cultivating lifelong learning. And in order to do that, it's really about leading from an abundance mindset versus a scarcity mindset in order to allow the growth mindset to happen. Carol Dweck's work is amazing. And remembering that it's about taking one step at a time to get to this place of feeling like you can have an abundance mindset, because if you're in a fear-based state and you're operating in a fear-based culture, it's really challenging to think through this lens. And so being intentional to actually grow through the orange and the yellow and into the green, which then allows you to get to this place of values alignment and really from a comprehensive culture perspective be able to think about how can we foster more inspirational leadership, right? Where we create this culture of interdependence, not codependence, interdependence, where we recognize the brilliance in each other and we're leading from an authentic place. When when we witness comprehensive cultures, there's no masks. There's no fake positivity. There's no hiding what's going on in any segment of your world. You may not share details of what's happening, but you're definitely forthcoming, even sharing gratitude of, hey, this happened this weekend with my family. Stacy and I were with a team last week in Florida where their gratitude and their sharing and their comfort level with each other like was rooted in trust from moment one of how they share even what they're grateful for. Stacey, do you want to talk a little bit more about how that team showed up in this space?
I think it lends into the next slide of mindset, right? With they're just like exponential as opposed to linear. And I know there are times for professional reasons we do want to keep it very linear. Like this is how I'm going to show up, and this is what is acceptable for conversation. But from a culture perspective, if we understand that we are whole humans and at some level we understand what is valuable to us, what lights us up, it's so amazing. So to see that one team member was struggling, but she was able to say, I find joy in just the simple seeing of flowers. And after our lunch break, I get goosebumps.
Yeah.
Somebody found a flower and just put it at the spot where she was sitting during our workshop. Like just these exponential ways of understanding how we can connect and how we can support each other in little tiny micro moments.
And it allows us to feel this sense of freedom as humans, like to feel like we can live and we can thrive in order to then be in community with one another and create this collaborative environment where we're operating from harmonious consciousness just means that we start to find that really true intuitive rhythm with one another. And this is where we find clarity in why we're here that grows beyond just the that we're here to teach students, right? Like, why are we truly here? Where is that true joy? And it's we're really seeking that authentic connection space and that purpose driven mindset versus anxiety of what if it doesn't work, or the loneliness epidemic can tick you into the feeling of anxiety even when you are in a collaborative culture. And so re-anchoring in that you're safe and re-anchoring with your why, and Simon Sinek's work, it starts with why is really vital too, to stay anchored in why do you show up every day. This work is not easy. The state of education, the system of education hasn't been working for generations. And so to re-anchor in why did you become an educator in the first place? Or if you're not a licensed professional within the schools, why do you choose to work in a school? Why do you choose to
Mhm,
be in a position where you get to inspire and influence children on a daily basis? Why do you choose that? Because it's not easy.
mhm,
Anyone who's ever been around a child in their entire life knows that it's not easy, right? And yet, uh, especially, I'm just going to give a huge shout out to middle school educators,
mhm,
right? Not that any level of education is easier than others. I mean, we can talk about early learning, we can talk about higher, all of the above, right? But in the with the middle school educators that I work with, when I see their aha click over into a more empowered place is when they really truly connect with their personal purpose and why they are doing this work. I wake up every day to dot 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 so that dot dot dot. I sent that out in one of our emails for you all to really have an opportunity to take a look at your own personal purpose and then be able to drive towards this place of greater purpose. And I started alluding to this. Why are we here on this planet? Right? How can we really lead from a visionary place? Go ahead, Stace.
I was going to share that children know when you want to be there educating them. And to speak at the middle school level, so on the private practice side for me, I provide individual therapy. And over the past few years, for middle school students in particular, they're really kind of down about adulthood. Like their parents are burnt out, their teachers are burnt out. Like, why do I want to grow up? It doesn't look good at all. But when
That
they
doesn't
have
look
that,
fun. Why would I want to do that?
right,
Yeah.
when they have that one teacher, that one educator who is like, no, this is my purpose and it brings me great joy, they sense that. They can walk in a room and know that. And so to be able to have educators kind of tap into these tools to find that for them is so valuable for the students and themselves.
And this is where we get into the evolutionary process. And we talked a little bit about AI earlier and understanding that this is our superpower. Our ability to recognize that our evolution of consciousness is what's going to allow us to find right rhythm with AI and leading from our position of strength as humans and to reconnect with our human core with compassion, leading from a heart centered place, recognizing that we are all part of nature. Everything grows and flows, right? Once we allow it to. And it's not about rushing through, you know, thinking things are temporary and we must rush. It's about recognizing in the longevity of it, in the generational influence that we get to have on future generations. It's why we're in education. We see the power of learning, of lifelong learning. And when we stay connected to that oneness of we're all on a big learning journey, some seasons are more challenging than others, right? We've all been on the roller coaster of life. And yet, recognizing that everything will happen. Everything in nature happens, nothing is rushed, right? We know this. And it's really anchored in trust. At the core of all of this, trust is the pebble that creates the ripple of impact that you are seeking. You wouldn't be here on this journey with us. You wouldn't be in education if you weren't seeking to create a ripple of impact, a ripple of positive impact for students and for yourself. And I know that as educators, it's challenging to look in the mirror and go, yeah, me too. But yes, you too, right? Look yourself in the mirror and say, me too. I get to create the ripple of impact I desire on purpose. And not only is it about our internal self trust, but it's about the trust that we cultivate around us in order to then move things forward. And so we've developed this MeWe school model. Stacey, do you want to talk about this?
You bet. So we know that within the system of education, we have evidence-based practices. The response to intervention is one, the multi-tiered system of support, which often starts with a larger tier, right? We have tier one where we're servicing everyone, and then tier two are smaller groups, and then tier three are going to be that kind of individual or extremely small group interventions or supports for individuals. But what we've recognized when it comes to developing psychologically safe cultures within education, it's really important to start with the me. How do I as a human show up, and what skills and tools do I need to better contribute to and connect with my surrounding community, smaller being in classroom, right, or the team PLCs, and then larger school and community connections. So it's just turning the triangle on its head in an attempt to put us at the center as we have that ripple of impact outward.
Yeah, it's impossible to feel that sense of belonging unless you have ownership of who you are. Back to what culture is. It's the collective capacity of who we all show up as. And so taking care of yourself, and I'm not talking about a bubble bath self-care. I'm talking about truly cultivating your internal culture in a way that serves you, in a way where you can own your brilliance. Because you're a brilliant professional that has chosen this work in this world, and to bring back that meaning to it. So then you can work in your PLCs, in your staff teams, and really inspire and influence children in a way that creates success and these holistic cultures of well-being. And as we're growing the Humanize EDU movement, where everyone is seen, heard, and valued in every school around the globe, we need help, and we need an army, right? I don't really like that because we're not going to war, but we need a global team, and so we're inviting you all to be the spark, to become a certified culture and well-being coach with us, to ignite the well-being within your entire school community. It truly is about becoming a part of this movement with us, whether you are simply a part of our Facebook group or you decide to become certified and join us. And so I wanted to take some time and really share why educators are joining and to become certified culture and well-being coaches. And there's a lot of words on these slides. I'm not going to read them to you. You can read as we go along. But this is truly about being able to lead with confidence and strength, right? Understanding your ripple of impact and making it happen beyond the walls of just one classroom, which is powerful in and of itself, but to create that positive ripple school wide. Because it's about each individual within the school community reaching their full potential, not just the students, but all of the adults as well. We have goals, we have dreams, we're still lifelong learners as the adults in the buildings. And so, how can we learn the powerful strategies to cultivate this thriving school environment, really giving you this renewed energy? We have schools right now that I work with several schools in the state of Nevada, and the rate of teacher attrition is astounding. And it's evidenced by the first metric, the first piece of data is that they're calling in sick. And when a high school has 29 teachers call out sick on any given day, so this is a high school, you're talking about multiple subjects, multiple, scheduling things, 29 teachers out times, I believe they have 7 or 8 class periods, that impact is exponential. And they're not calling out because, they just wanna call out. They're calling out because they don't feel good, whether it's a mental health day that's impacting their physical health or whether it's something physical that is manifested from their stress, it's all interconnected. And so we have educators who are enrolling in this program because they want to create that positive ripple of impact and really make a difference as a recognized leader, right? And really being able to know that you can foster collaboration, foster that sense of belonging so that when you do need to call out, you've already arranged from your colleagues, "Hey, can you cover? I know this is rough. I need you to have my back today. I'll have your back next week if you need a day," like that. They're doing it so that it doesn't fall on this. A couple of schools that I work with, it really falls on the office manager to then logistically find substitute teachers if they're available, or to ask other teachers in the building to cover classes on top of their classes and buy out preps, and it becomes a logistical chess match in minutes that this needs to happen because the students are showing up, right? The bell rings, students are in seats, and we need to keep them safe and teach them. So the ripple of impact is really important as a culture and well-being coach on site within your school to be able to provide you with the step-by-step process to cultivate this culture of well-being. Stacey, do you want to talk about the portable credential, which is an interesting way to say it, but um, how else do we say that this stays with you? This is a lifelong certification.
Well, all learning stays with us, right? And so for those of us who really believe that education is the biggest gift of all, right? We recognize that lifelong learning is valuable because whatever we learn, we can take with us. And that's what we mean by portable. So that if you're in a current school situation and you're going to go ahead and participate, but then know that whatever next steps are in your life, this is something that you can take with you. This is something you can highlight on your resume. We know that well-being is at the forefront of hiring. Companies want to know, organizations want to know, how are you going to foster well-being within our organization? And this is one way you can demonstrate being a leader in this field.
And also becoming an edupreneur. Whatever that looks like for you, whether you're an edupreneur within your own classroom, within your own school building, or beyond the current system of education, looking towards the future of education, how may you want to start your own business? These are opportunities to actually use this training growing forward. We talked about addressing educator burnout and cultivating that thriving learning environment, so that the classrooms are buzzing with positive energy and everyone in the school community feels like they belong and have this sense of resilience for yourselves. And so our culture and well-being coaches that are on site within schools really cultivate this enhanced collaboration and communication, right? And you become that person. And we're going to talk in a minute about why we're doing a bring a friend free program for this, is because it's about having a buddy, right? Being those two people on campus that can be that trusted support system for the adults in the building, right? That you can foster that sense of community and resilience and belonging from a healthy place. This is for lots of different people, right? It's not just a one size fits all. Go ahead, Stace.
I just want you all to visualize enrolling in the Culture and Wellbeing Coach certification, receiving 3 days of intensive learning, and then being able to come back and share that with your school. We actually have, is it three different sessions, right, that will occur prior to school starting this next school year. You will walk into next school year with so many tools and so much support from our team so that you can create that ripple of impact. It is going to be so valuable. Like, I can't express that enough. I know that there are different opportunities for professional development out there. And, we go and we gain some wisdom and we're like, ooh, I'll be able to use that. And then implementing it like feels a little wonky. But because this is a year-long program, it really affords the opportunity to say, okay, well, I tried that or I got stuck here, and really come back to us. We're here to support and guide you through this process so you really can take it, apply it, get in there and make the impact that we all know that you're capable of.
I love it. Thank you for that tee up. So I'm going to go through the logistics a little bit of this year long program. So it is 3 days once a month. So 3 days once a month that allows you to connect with this cohort. And so it's virtual. So you can join from anywhere in the world. And we'll be operating in Pacific time zone is 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Yes. my team catch my numbers. And in knowing that we're going to start at the end of May. So after this school year ends, we're going to kick things off and go through. We've developed the curriculum in a way that follows the MeWe school model. So we've got 101 curriculum, which we want to equip you before the beginning of next school year with all of 101. So Me 101, We 101, and School 101. So that when you kick off the 24-25 school year, you actually have all of the tools that is a year's worth of content to begin integrating into your school community. And then we will go through 201 and then 301 throughout the remainder of the year. So you can pull from those tools and strategies as well. But you'll really be equipped with all 3 years of culture transformation curriculum at your fingertips. The downloadable resources, the strategies, the integration, the real time ability to role play. No, role play sometimes is a bad word for some people. We do it in a friendly way, I promise. So with Me 101, we start with who you are, your personal purpose, your personal core values, your unique natural brain wired strength. And we use a tool called Talent Dynamics, which we've talked about before. And then we go into We 101, where we dive into creating a really well crafted team alliance and how you lead your teams through that. How do we cultivate a sense of belonging and the science of happiness? And we'll go through a lot of data and research in We 101 to give you the foundational why this matters to be able to take back to your team. And then growing into School 101 so you can kick off the year with a comprehensive unified vision. And so we will spend 3 days with how do you cultivate a comprehensive unified vision for your entire school community. And then we go into 201. So, Me, We, School 201 is the next level of depth that is about a core desired feeling roadmap, really navigating through your own expanding versus limiting beliefs and cultivating your own internal self trust. We will touch a little bit in Me 201 how that translates into having those conversations with team members. And then we'll go into team core values and how you articulate those and create this common language. And then you're also getting a bonus Talent Dynamics Flow Consultant certification, which is a whole beautiful program that allows you to understand other individuals' natural brain wired strengths and how you can help them unlock their inner genius. And then for School 201 is the anatomy of trust and cultivating school-wide core values, which is super powerful and becomes the anchor of this is who we are and this is how we do things here. And then in 301, we go into for Me 301 is all about your own emotional intelligence and resilience and your leadership growth and evolution, which is a lot of what we talked about today through the evolution of consciousness tree. And then in We 301, it's about understanding the 64 relationships, which within Talent Dynamics, there's 8 different profiles, 8 different paths of least resistance to success, and how each unique brain wired strength communicates with the other, which leads us into a really detailed conversation about the art and science of leading people. So we'll make sure that you are equipped to lead your school to the culture transformation that you desire. And then in School 301, we'll talk about sustainability, integration, not only of the core values, but all of these tools and strategies, and what the legacy looks like for the leadership team, as well as the entire staff at each school. What is the legacy of that staff? And how do you live in values alignment in a consistent way so that your core values don't become words on a wall? Stacey, do you want to speak to this?
I was waiting for the next slide with the celebration and the opportunity to connect. So
I
in
didn't get there yet. I
in,
didn't get there yet.
in,
Okay. Put them.
in May of 2025, everyone will have the opportunity to come and meet in person. And I don't know about you, maybe it was like pandemic times, but the opportunity to like work with people virtually, but then to meet them in person is
Here, I'll go
just
there and then
so
we'll come back.
invigorating. Yes.
Yeah. So May May of 25, we will meet in person, and the cohort gets to decide the location. So we'll work virtually with this cohort, and then you get to come in person. So
Love it. There's so many great skills that you're walking away with. Like it's just becoming, as it says here, a master listener, being able to kind of regulate yourself to see and get curious as to why others are showing up the way they're showing up. Just unlocking that potential of curiosity with powerful questions. And then that goal setting and holding yourself accountable, like really charting your own success and your ability to share with your students. Like they see you every day. You are modeling for them how to navigate all of this. And then the art of feedback, which is so valuable in learning. And if we begin to understand that grades are feedback, maybe we can minimize the level of achievement toxicity that's going on to achieve those things and just talk about how no, this is feedback about how you're doing. And sometimes when the grade isn't what you expected, then maybe it's because it wasn't taught in a way that worked for your brain. Maybe you didn't show up the one day when you really could have had those juicy bits. It's really helpful to get all of these tools, not only for working with your colleagues, but working with your students as well. The boundary setting, right? As nurturers, as caregivers, like this is a big one. And so we will spend time on this, as well as conflict navigation. We know that during these times when individuals come with very strong opinions, it's important to have some type of resolution, even if it's to agree to disagree. We want to stress less and find some ways of incorporating mindfulness and whatever self care looks like for you all, and then just igniting that spark in others, which is often why we get invested in education, because it's watching a student light up when they go, I got
it's one of the things I get asked for most in the coaching workshops with the adults on campuses is, when I ask, "What do you need from me today?" And most often they're like, "I just need that spark of inspiration today. I need to reconnect with a little bit more life, because it's hard. You get bogged down with a lot of the negativity that surrounds education, and we get to flip that on its head. We're the ones we've been waiting for, right? We're the ones that get to revolutionize education from the inside out. It's up to us. There's no one coming. There's no one going to come rescue us. The powers that be that have developed the system of education from generations are looking to try to solve it, but it's got to happen from the inside out. It gets to happen from who we show up as individuals. And being a certified culture and well-being coach, walking away with these tools and skills and strategies and ways to actually ignite the inner genius in everyone else on your school campus through this global certification, knowing your natural talent dynamics, brain-wired strength, getting 240 hours over the year of continuing education credit that you can then use with a certificate towards your licensure, towards salary advancements, whatever that is like within your district and your community. For those in the state of Nevada, we've actually partnered with a national association where they will be able to definitively use it for salary increases and licensure renewals. And knowing that what comes after graduation, we're not going away. Like we're going to have quarterly collabs, right? There'll be 90 minutes once a quarter that as a global team we'll get to check in and collaborate. What's working? How can we support each other? How can we overcome challenges together? We're going to have grown through a year of you know, a depth of learning that we're not leaving each other, especially after we meet in person for 3 days. We're gonna be connected and anchored in for life. We'll share any updates on lessons, tools, and strategies that you'll continue to have access to, and we'll decide those dates and times as a cohort as we go along throughout the year. So it'll be co-created. But this is a time. This is a time where we get to double the learning. We get to double the impact, right? And this is super cheeky, but it's really about understanding that you're not alone. And I want to ensure that you have a buddy, that you have a BFF within your school community to do this with. So until May 1st, it is a 2-for-1, right? You get 2 places in the culture and well-being coach certification for the price of 1 at 14,888. And that's for the entire year, for 240 hours of continuing ed, right? This is an opportunity to say yes to not only yourself, but designing the culture you dream of by design, not by default. Right? That we get to do things on purpose. You're going to transform your school in just 1 year. And then you're going to have 2 years, 2 more years worth of curriculum in your tool belt to continue the work and the momentum forward. These results are proven. I've been doing culture transformation work for almost 15 years. Stacy's been doing youth mental well-being work for about the same. Megan, who is our other lead culture coach, is coming in with her depth of experience in not only youth mental well-being, but group therapy and emotional intelligence, and her dissertation, like Stacy said, on the impact of how principals, totally lost my train of thought.
Level of emotional
Thank you.
intelligence.
Level of emotional intelligence impacts teacher retention, right? And you're
Right.
going to master the art of self-care, right? But it's not, like I said, it's not just bubble bath self-care. Those are nice. Please do those. Those are fun. But it's truly about weaving them into the practice of who you show up as on a daily basis. How do you recenter? How do you reground? How do you actually show up as your best self and communicate your needs? This is about shaping the school culture you dream of starting today. Like now. Now is the time. We can't wait. We don't get to be at the end of next school year and go, "Yep, same thing all year long. I just couldn't wait for summer." Now is the time. Now is when we get to step up and take our power back as educators and design and cultivate the working and learning environments that are psychologically safe and healthy and really allow all of us to thrive. We're with you every step of the way. This is a lifetime of support that you get. You're going to get access to a global network of change makers and a global curriculum that takes you beyond. If you want to become an edupreneur after you retire, you can actually use the tools and strategies within this global network. There's other learnings there that are free and at your fingertips for you to use. And we'll show all of that to you, what grows beyond. So May 1st, this is the deadline. You've got 2 weeks to sign up and join us because we're kicking this off and we can't wait to meet you and onboard you and get you started within our tribe. We're so excited. We have such an amazing team ready to support you along the way. And first step, book a call with our admissions team. So click here for the Calendly. And if you don't have it, have the ability to take a picture of the QR code, just go ahead and type in bit.ly/humanizeedu-admissions, and it'll take you to the same place. So definitely book a call with our admissions team, and they will walk you through all the pieces, answer any questions that you have. And Stace, if you're ready, we can take a few questions now. I'll leave this up here for another minute for anyone else that wants to make sure you have the QR code pulled up on your phone. But
I
let's
think
open
the
it up for
admissions
questions.
process is so valuable, right? Because it's an opportunity to say, okay, yes, I'm very interested, but how do I make this work? And we have some educators where their schools are paying for their certification. And so we walk you through how we would support that and what kind of materials we can provide for you to take back to your school leaders or whomever is the decision maker within your schools. We have obviously worked with several schools, so we know how to invoice them and work through any of those accounting type processes. So really that admissions call is your ability to ask all of like the really detailed questions and understand how you can take the next step and then sign up for orientation. So we, again, as Sandy shared, we are so excited to get to meet you all. And if you can't join us for this training, please start following us on the Conscious Educator Facebook group, because we're just here, all unique, amazing humans.
I love it. So everyone type in the chat, you are a unique, amazing human. You are a unique, amazing human. You are. You are brilliant, and we are excited to have you as part of this movement with us. Like Stacey said, please join us in the Conscious Educator Playground Facebook group. There's another QR code just to make it super easy for you to get there. Stay connected with us. If you have any other questions that we didn't answer, I know we're a couple minutes over on time here. You can always email us at hello@humanizeedu.com, or our admissions team can answer any of them as you book your call with them directly. Thanks, everybody, so much for being a part of our time together. We can't wait to meet you. Let us know how we can support you. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.